Now for a glimpse of ag around the world. As trade continues to be a top priority for the Trump administration, USDA says it's going on a trade mission to Guatemala next week. The agency stressing the goal is to strengthen export opportunities in the largest economy and most populous country in Central America. And during Top Producer Summit last week, Clinton Griffiths talked with industry leaders about how U.S. food power is in focus on a global scale.
Farmers love to debate the details of their work, but there's one thing that's not up for debate. That's American agriculture is a strategic advantage for the U.S.
Food is foundational to everything when we think about economic power, when we think about military power, and the power of diplomacy. Food is essential to all of that.
Mark Purdy is a farm kid who spent more than 2 decades in the military. That includes thinking about how agriculture impacts global peace and prosperity.
America's preeminent advantage has been food, and so I think that's why we need to view that as food power. Not simply producing for our population or preventing others from starving, but to be able to project food around the world for those that are prospering as well as those that are in need.
The world knows food availability is vital to national security.
Well, I think you would go back to Arab Spring and the fact that what caused unrest in the Middle East here, in the post 9/11 environment was having food on tables in key parts of the world.
Greg Dowd helped lead agricultural trade negotiations during the first Trump administration. He thinks trade and national security must be strategic.
We need to go back and look at some of what our territory is from a military perspective. What's the ground you can take and hold and keep New Zealand and Europe and other countries out of there?
If we don't rise to that level of not just production, but overproduction, so that we can project that around the world, others fill that gap. Others that don't have the same democratic ideals and the leadership ideals of others.
Purdy says today, countries like China, Russia, and others understand this and are now prioritizing their global agricultural strategy.
They know how important agriculture is because they've been through periods of time where starvation and hunger toppled their governments.
He says that risk is also our greatest opportunity.
We're extremely blessed. We've been able to take this for granted, but we're at an apex now of this great power competition to where we have to understand that and really articulate that in a serious national strategy.
Thanks, Clinton. Is 45Z a fairy tale for farmers? Chip's Corner is next.